Hey, here's the guy we're going to be making. His jaw and his hat move up and down at the same time. He's got this weird looking face. The good news is that the face looks so weird, we don't have to be very good at making it. Start with a sheet of paper. And what you're going to do is take it and fold it in half and make some kind of weird B shape like this. So once you make the weird B, you can cut it out. So cut it out, open it up, and this will give you that inner face shape. We have kind of the bottom, the upper teeth, up past the nose, and then a forehead, and all that stuff's going to go on here. Now this isn't perfect, but I'm going to show you that it doesn't have to be perfect to come together and make something kind of cool. So after we make this, we're going to make kind of these cheek pieces and then the outer cheek pieces. So here are the shapes that we have here. This is the inner cheek piece. Here's the outer cheek piece. And so once they're cut out, the inner cheek piece ends up inside of here, and this guy ends up right there. I just made these pieces up. You can make them look however you want. You can make this a certain color, you can make this a different color, and that's just a shape I made up. So as we cut these out, if I want to make these a color, I should do that right now. So if painting is in the works, that should happen. You can see that this is yellow. We actually have some vinyl in the classroom if you're one of my students. But let's get this glued together once it's cut out. All right, so here we are. I have the upper cheeks done, and these just stick off the sides here like this. They're kind of leaf shaped, just so they don't get in the way of each other. They don't overlap too much. Try to get them to be a little bit even, and get those hot glued on best you can. We'll flip it quick, see if it's even. Oh, I'd say that's even enough. I should have flipped that over, or I should have colored it. It's going to be mostly covered, however, and I can try out different face shapes right here, because this is going to give it one look. What I did on the other one, we had something like this going on, and you know, it's arbitrary. It doesn't really matter that much where you put what. So I'm going to glue those down next, and here they go. Now I noticed that this orange piece and this piece over here are so much larger than the one on the left side. I can't decide if I'm going to trim that down, and I can always trim it, make it a little smaller later. So for now I'm going to leave it, even though this piece and this piece, it's coming together as a different shape. That's okay. It's better that it's going to look different and look kind of cool. So up next, we are going to get the jaw sliding and this bottom piece attached. And to take a look on the other side, there's a skewer that connects the top piece with the bottom piece, top piece, bottom piece, and this jaw slides on top of that skewer. You can ignore the top piece. Just for now, we're gonna get a skewer going down to here, skewer going down here, and we're gonna get some straws sliding with that bottom piece going on there. So to do that, I need to have kind of like a body, some shoulders. Now here's a nice piece. What I might just do is trim some shoulder shape into it, just for now. And you could simply glue a skewer to the back of this, but sometimes it works out where you can kind of shove it into the corrugations themselves. That's in there pretty good already. I might put a little bit of glue on top and shove it in a little further, but that will be how I'll set these. Well, I've rounded the shoulders off, and I've got these two skewers set in there, I'm just going to put a little bit of hot glue on the top of each of these skewers and twist it down into the cardboard just a little bit more, and that'll be set permanently, like forever. So now that hot glue has been twisted down into the cardboard. So now we can start trying to attach the head to it, but before we attach the head, we need to get some sort of jaw moving up and down too. So let's make the jaw next. So I think this is going to be the material I use for my jaw. You can still see this is so much wider. And over here, what I have is it's kind of like a kidney bean shape. You can do whatever shape you want. You could just try to make it a smiley face, but I'm going to go with that kidney bean idea. Basically, it's a bean shape. It's got one dimple down on the bottom, and it's got two dimples up there towards the top. So let me cut that out. Now here it is cut out. We need to get this guy sliding before we attach to the top. So I'm going to take both of these and flip them over. So this has got some writing I want to hide. And this is going to be underneath at this point. In fact, we could flip all three of them over. So I've got two pieces that are going to be glued together and the one piece that'll slide. Now this is going to slide on some little bits of straw. So here is a little section of straw that I'm sliding on the skewer. Here's another one going on over here. These straws are what we're going to glue that will allow it to slide up and down on that. And if you want it to be really secure, this is a pretty big piece. Putting two little bits of straw might not be enough. I should have cut these longer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make them longer with a second piece of straw up there at the top, and I'll put another piece of straw up here like this. So now I've got straw here and here and here and here. I'm going to try to get this nice and square so it's all lined up. Get this straightened. I'll get this straightened before I glue anything together. Okay, so I'm going to glue only the jaw to the straws. I don't want to get any glue on this skewer at all. I want it to be able to slide freely. And this is a really common mistake people will be making, is that they'll end up getting quite a bit of glue on that skewer. So I'm just putting glue where the straws are. In this case, it looks like I missed. I'm just going to kind of scrape it over a little bit. And I'm going to let that first little bit of glue dry. I might go ahead and make it a little bit stronger with just some scrap pieces of cardboard. And so here's a scrap, there's a scrap. Some of these extra scraps of cardboard could actually get glued over the straws, kind of like a strap. So now that straw cannot get away because it is held down as well as glued to this piece. So let me get these 4 little straps glued on there before we go ahead and glue the top piece on. Hey, those are glued on now. I need to make sure I leave enough of a gap. If I put it all the way tight up here, there's not going to be enough space for the jaw to move at all. I have to leave some space, but I have to decide how much that is I want to leave. Down here, it can only move, less than an inch, or only a couple centimeters. So down here, I think that's going to be about how much I want. Now, if I just glue these down, the trick here is to put some glue down and then put the skewer on top of the glue. You want the glue to be in between the stuff that you're trying to glue together. Seen a lot of people put a lot of glue on top of things when they're trying to glue them together. We say it again, if you just move the skewer to the side a little bit, put a long line down, and then put it on top of that glue. Now I've got quite a lot of glue in between those two pieces, and I want to make sure that this piece can still move freely. So let me let that cool for a second. Now let's flip it over. So there is our jaw, cheeks, face. I'm going to go ahead and make something like a nose, and I'll show you how I made those funny eyes over here. Well, the eyes are pretty easy. I don't have a lot of skill, and so what I did to make these is I cut a circle out, and I just started trying to cut smaller circles out of that, and the scraps that were left over from that process kind of could be put together into a couple different eyes. And so there I've cut this circle down a little ways, and I'm going to take those scraps and start playing with them. Now if I find something that I like, I'm going to go with it, and if there's something I don't like, we can just skip it. So there's my first attempt. I'm going to go with that. Make sure that you also play with the placement of the eyes. This conveys something that's very different than, let's say, you know, that or that. Okay, so trying to get the eyes in a place that, you know, conveys something is great. I can imagine you're trying to make them look like they're smiling, or, you know, this looks a little happier than before. Maybe even like that. Could be kind of fun. So I'm going to glue these eyes down, and then we're going to show you a nose. Now here's some of the options I have in the classroom for noses. You can see that this one's pretty easy to make. You just make sort of a nose shape, fold the sides in a little bit, and draw some nostrils on it. Here's a teddy bear nose. Here is like a beak from like a crow or something. That's this piece and this piece and this piece put together into this long beak shape. The nose I'm going to try to make is this one right here. And so I'm going to cut out sort of a shape like this. I'm going to just fold it and try to overlap the bottom, because you can see the bottom of this thing is kind of solid. So I'm going to cut this shape out and try to place a nose on it like that. Here's kind of the shape I'm going to go with. After a little bit of just sort of making it more flexible and trying to get it bent into something like a nose shape. Won't be perfect. I'm going to get these bottoms curled in, curled over each other, and once I glue these together, it'll hold that nice shape. And it's going to be a weird looking guy, but that's the nose we're going to put on it. I got those bottoms glued together. I'm just going to throw them on there. You know, none of this is very straight. None of it's very lined up. But I'm okay with it. I like the way it comes together when nothing is very straight and very perfect. So here's what I have so far. There is one last piece, and that's putting the hat on top. It's not as hard as it looks. I'm going to make a hat. We'll flip it over and see what it looks like. So let's make a hat first. Alright, so here's the hat that we're going to move up and down with the jaw. So as the jaw moves up, the hat will move up, and as the jaw moves down, they'll move together. That's the least complicated way we could make this. So to flip this over, what I'm going to want to do is have the hat and the jaw both down as far as they can go. Now, if you're watching this in advance, I wish I went to put the nose on yet. I wish the nose were still off, because the nose is making this kind of difficult. Well, anyway, we're just going to have two more skewers going from the jaw all the way up to here. And those skewers are just going to slide in straws, just like before. So I'm going to place a couple of straws along the route we're going to take. And we're not going to glue those down quite yet, because I want to get the skewers in place. Let me grab a couple skewers. Here's the skewer, and here comes the straw. I hope you can see the straws on here. Okay, this skewer is going to connect the bottom, or this side. This other skewer, which I'm adding straws to right now, will be the other side. So we're going to connect it to the moving pieces here. We're going to connect it to the moving pieces on this jaw. It will slide through these two bits of straw, which we are going to attach. And then the last step will just be to attach the hat. First thing I would do is get this glued onto the jaw. And again, getting the glue beneath, that is to say, in between the cardboard and the skewer is pretty crucial right now. So I'm putting the skewer on top of the glue. Right here there happens to be a little pocket I can put it in. I'm still being careful not to get any glue on these skewers because that still needs to move. But those are going to be glued down pretty nicely. So now I can take a look up here. I'm going to find my sections of straw and start adding glue to beneath those. Being careful only to glue the straws down this time. So I might just pause and make sure I don't mess that up. I got glue beneath this straw and I got glue beneath this straw. I'm going to come over here. I will glue this straw down. And last thing, I'll glue this straw down. Alright, so those are glued down. And I'm testing it out. The jaw still moves really nicely. You can see those two skewers are pushing up and down with the jaw. Okay. Now the last mistake you might make is if you glue the jaw all the way up and the hat all the way down, that means the hat can't move down and the jaw can't move up, so they're stuck. So I'm going to move the jaw all the way to the bottom. I'm going to have my hat all the way at the bottom. And right now is when I glue the hat at the lowest position. So once this glue dries, I'll flip it over, we'll take a look, and we'll be done. And so here it is. Hat and jaw connected. You'll notice that the hat goes behind the head in this case. You could build up extra layers so that your hat comes ahead, kind of like I did on this first one, but that's optional. I hope that you customize the eyes. You could do more details with the eyes. You could add pipe cleaners, you could add teeth, you could 3D print parts for the chest, you could have motorized parts to this. There's so many ways to extend this that I really can't wait to see what people start making with this one. So have fun with it, learn how to piece together a complicated project, and have a great day. Hey, have a good day. Yeah! You have a good one too!